The first time I probably was involved in a really hard campaign against another politician was when and I know you were involved too, the credit card scandal that Len was involved in. And I have to say, I've seen Len a few times over the years since he left the mayoralty of Auckland, and we've chatted, and on a personal level, I quite like him. But that at the time, that was a really good example of how if you want to play the hard knuckle politics, you can really turn what was a small issue into something pretty big in the lead up to an election. And that was probably the first time we had a hard go at that. You did a good number on Len, quite rightly, about 6 years later. But we were able to turn his credit card spending. We turned several $100s of credit card spending into weeks and weeks and weeks of
negative
scandal
press for him,
ahead of the 2010 Auckland Council elections when he was up against John Banks. Didn't make a huge amount of difference because he still won. But yeah, that's if you want to be a good opposition politician, you really delve into the detail and you know how to work the press and you know how to work the information over a long period of time by dripping it out and keeping on finding new ways to attack it, you can turn something small into pretty big. Look, I'm aware, talking about this, 15 years later or something, it's almost as if we're discussing with glee hurting someone's reputation. But
they did it to themselves, though.
We're talking here, I think, in this podcast about politics and the art of it and the game. As somebody who's no longer in Parliament anymore, looking back at the game of politics and how it's played, it's just fascinating, I think, to go through. I'm not sitting here with glee saying we took somebody down. These are tactics that politicians use, and it's helpful, I think, for people to understand how it'll work.